A very good morning, students. Our session of auditing and corporate governance. Now, today we are going to discuss about rights of an auditor. As we also know, there are different duties that auditor is going to perform at the time of taking the process of auditing. Auditor is responsible to the organization because organization appoints auditor for the verifications of books and accounts. Then after, auditor is responsible to the shareholders because shareholders comes to know that how the organizations are working with their capital and what is their financial position. So when auditor is performing various duties in a different manner, in the same way auditor is going to claim their different rights as far as the work of auditing is concerned. Now there are total 9 rights of an auditor that one by one we are going to discuss. Under that, the first one is access to books of accounts. Here, auditor has total right to access each and every books of accounts of the concerned organization. Here, auditor has a right to check each and every ledgers, each and every accounts and different financial statements. Apart from it, auditor has a right to check supporting vouchers, evidence and proof that are going to be used at the time of preparing books of accounts. So here, in any case or in any situation, organization is not going to deny their auditor for not producing a proper books of accounts or vouchers to him. If organization fails to produce the supporting vouchers or different books of accounts to the auditor, then auditor has a right that he is going to take a legal action against the concerned organization. So, auditor has a total right to access each and every books of accounts, each and every vouchers, each and every ledgers and each and every financial statement of the organization. Then after, second one, right to obtain information and explanation. Sometimes it is a situational based that auditor is not clear about the journal entries or any amount which is written in the books of accounts. So when he does not get a clear idea that how organization is treating a particular entry in a particular manner, so at that time he requires the further explanation, the further information from the account departments, from the organization side. So, auditor has a total right to get additional information or explanation when he is not clear about any particulars or any entries in the books of accounts. So it is a duty of organization to provide additional information and proper explanation to their auditor. Then after third one, right to attend general meeting. Here, auditor has a right to attend the general meeting, that is AGM, annual general meeting. Actually, without auditor, organization is not in a position to hold the general meeting, because audit report is the center part of the annual general meeting. So without auditor, no organization is able to conduct general meeting, that is annual general meeting. So auditor has a right to attend the general meeting. Then after fourth one, right to be heard at the meeting. Now apart from the attendance in general meeting, auditor has a total right to be heard in the general meeting. So auditor has a right to present his point of view, to present his presentation in annual general meeting. And here the members of the organization and the shareholders are going to listen his point in AGM. Organization is not going to deny auditor to not present anything from his side in the annual general meeting. So auditor has a right to attend and to give a proper presentation or a proper speech, or he has a right to clarify some important points which he comes to know at the time of process of auditing, that is in the verification and valuation. So he has a right to attend and to be heard in AGM. Then after fifth point, right to visit branches. If the organization has several branches, then auditor has a total right to visit any branch office as he has not been audited, because at the time of visit he comes to know about the actual operation of the organization, and he can also make a surprise visit of the branches of organization. So here organization is not going to stop auditor for the visit of any branches. Then after sixth point, that is right to receive remuneration. Auditor has a total right to receive remuneration for which he is appointed by the organization. He has a right to paid in a fairly manner. Whatever work he is doing in the work of auditing, that is verifications and valuations of different books of accounts and different vouchers, So it is a duty of the organization to pay sufficient remuneration to the auditor. Seventh one, that is right to receive notice of removal. If the auditor is removed by board of director or by the shareholders before the expiry of his term or on the expiry of his term, in whatever the situation, if the auditor is removed by the organization, so at that point he has a right to receive a prior notice of removal. Organization is not going to immediately remove the auditor, because without prior notice organization is not able to do so. So he has a right to receive the notice of his removal. Then after 8th point, right to be indemnified. Indemnified means compensate. Auditor has a right to receive compensate if there is any loss which he is facing at the time of doing the work of auditing. So he has a right to get a proper compensate from the organization. Then after the last point, that is right to get expert advice. Here auditor has a right to get expert advice if in any case he has a doubt at the time of valuation of any fixed assets or verifications of any books of accounts. So he has a total right to get an expert advice from the third person. So these are the main rights of an auditor. Then after, the next and the last point of our unit is duties of an auditor. As we already discussed in our previous point, that auditor is going to perform his duty on fairly basis, on ethical basis. So here the duties of an auditor is divided into three main parts. The first one is duties under the Companies Act. Second one, that is duties in accordance with judicial decisions. And the last one, that is duties under professional conduct and ethics. Now, as far as your examination is concerned, the rights and duties of an auditor is important point. So let's discuss in detail about the duties of an auditor. The first one, duties under the Companies Act. Here, under the Companies Act, there are 4 duties which auditor is going to perform at the time of verification and valuations of books of accounts. The first one, that is making a report to members. Here, auditor is responsible to prepare an audit report to the members of the organization. In the annual general meeting, auditor is going to present the audit report in the front of shareholders and the management of the organization. So, it is a primary duty of an auditor, that is to prepare an audit report to the members of the company. And actually, for this reason, company appoints an auditor. So, basically, it is advisable from the side of auditor, that is to prepare a qualified audit report to the members. Basically, there are 2 types of report. First one is clean report and second one is qualified report. That will be there in our next semester, in semester 6. But qualified report is a report without any errors, without any negativity. That report will be known as qualified report. And each and every organization and each and every members wants qualified report from the side of auditor. So here, auditor is going to perform well so that he is able to prepare a qualified reports to the members. So that's about the first duty of auditor under the Companies Act. Second one, report to be included in prospects. Now, when the audit report is prepared by the auditor, now it is a duty of auditor to see that the audit report is going to include in the prospects in a proper manner, so that the potential investors and the regular investors comes to know about the financial position of the organization with the audited books of accounts and with the audit report itself. So now it is a duty of auditor, that is to see that in prospect organization attached audit report in a proper manner or not. And if it is not so, then auditor will report the same to the registrar of the company, that in which case they do not include audit report in the prospects. So that's all about the second duty. Then the third one, certificate as to statutory report. Now when the auditor is going to prepare the statutory report, that is the compulsory report by the directors of the company. When in statutory report, it is a duty of the auditor to include the important matters, and that important matters is about the issue of the shares and allotment of the shares. In that, auditor need to include the shares, the total amount of shares allotted by the organization. Then after, on the basis of that allotment, total cash received in the process of allotment of the shares. And then after, the total cash receipts and cash payment of the organization. So these 3 points must be there in statutory report. And now it is a duty of auditor, that is to see that statutory report must prepared on a proper basis. So this is the third duty. Now we have the last duties under the Companies Act, and that duty is duty to assist the inspector. Here, in any case, if central government appoints an inspector for the further verifications of books of accounts of the organization, so at this point of time, it is a duty of our auditor, that is to assist the inspector who is appointed by the central government in a proper manner, and in case of any further explanation or in any further information, auditor will be there to give such necessary information and explanation to the inspector. So it is his duty to assist the inspector in proper manner. So it's about the duties under the Companies Act. Then after, the second one, duties in accordance with the judicial decision, means by law. There are few duties that auditor need to perform while commencing the work of auditing in the organization. There are total 5 duties. Let's discuss one by one. The first one, that is to be acquainted with the articles. Before commencing the work of audit, it is a duty of auditor, that is to get familiar with articles of the association and memorandum of the association of the organization. If auditor is not aware about the articles or memorandums, then he is not able to perform fairly, because in articles there are objectives of the organization. In articles, they includes various policies of the organization. So, it is highly required to get familiar with articles of association of the organization, and with the proper understanding of the article, then after, auditor is going to commence the work of auditing of that particular organization. So he must be acquainted with the articles of the organization. Then after second one, to exercise reasonable care and skill. Now this is the basic duty that each and every auditor needs to perform at the time of doing auditing. At the time of verification and valuations of books of accounts, he need to give a proper care and a proper skill for the verifications of different documents. If the auditor is careful, then definitely he comes to know about various errors and fraud of the organization. And with his skill and with his efficiency, auditor is able to perform his duty fairly with the particular organization. So he need to exercise a proper care and skill at the time of commencing the work of audit. The next one, to verify the substantial accuracy of accounts. Here, auditor is not going to see that the accounts are correct as they are presented in the books of accounts, but along with the correctness, auditor is going to see that there is no any arithmetical mistakes by the accountant. He must see that the revenue or capital expenditure, the segregation between the different expenditures and income in a proper manner. So, along with the accounting entries, he is going to see the arithmetic accuracy of the balance sheet. So, for that reason, he comes to know about a true and correct picture of the company's affairs. So, accuracy can be judged by the arithmetic calculation which is done by accountant of the organization. Then after the fourth one, to verify certain assets personally. Here, auditor personally verify different assets at the time of valuation, because sometimes it is possible that organization plays an unfair game in the books of accounts when the valuations of different assets are concerned. So it is advisable to auditor, that is to verify the valuation of certain assets on the personal basis. And the last one is to verify or to clearly mention the deficiency in audit report. Actually, organization does not like if auditor put deficiency or negativity in audit report, because that truly represent a negative picture of the organization in the minds of their shareholders. But at the time of verification and valuation, if auditor founds that organization plays mischief, the books are with full of errors, the accounts are with full of fraud, then definitely he is going to mention in his audit report about the deficiency, so that the stakeholders comes to know about the real picture of the organization. So it is a duty of auditor, that is to mention the negativity in the audit report. So it's about the duties in accordance with judicial decision. Then after next one, duties under professional conduct and ethics. Yes, the basic duty of each and every auditor, that is to perform his task with ethics and with his moral. If auditor is ethical, then definitely they are not going to find any mistakes in that. So first duty, that is communication with previous auditor, is required. Yes, if the company auditor is changing in the current financial year, then definitely it is a duty of a new auditor, that is to have a formal and clear communication with the previous auditor of the organization. If a proper and clear communication is there between these two auditors, then the new auditor comes to know about the working style of the company and how they are maintaining the books of accounts. Then after, second one, no acceptance without ascertainment. So here, auditor is not going to accept his appointment as an auditor of a particular company without accepting a formal application which is required as far as the Companies Act are concerned. So, to work as an auditor need to ascertain a formal appointment letter from the organization. Then after third point, no acceptance of lower fees. If organization offer lower fee to the new auditor as compared to their previous auditor, then definitely new auditor is not going to accept the position of an auditor with lower fees. The next one, no allowance given to his partner. When auditor is appointed by the organization, at that point of time, organization is going to pay the remuneration to the concerned person only. If the partner of auditor is doing the work on his behalf and preparing the audit report, at that point of time, no member, no partners apart from the auditor is going to accept the remuneration on his behalf. Then after, no directly or indirectly solicitation of clients. Here, auditor is not going to communicate directly or indirectly with his client via different circulars, different advertisement, or any personal communication. Auditor is liable to the organization. He is not liable to other persons directly or indirectly. Then after, no direct payment. Here, organization is not going to pay directly or indirectly any share, any brokerage, any commission or any fees or a part of profit of his professional business to any person. He received or remuneration which is decided in the annual general meeting only. He is not liable to receive any other sum of money in any direct form or any indirect form. Then after the next one, no allowance to use his name. Here, auditor is not going to allow any person to practice in his name as a chartered accountant. Then after, not allowed to use other designation. Yes, when a person is not allowed to use his name, the same manner any person is not allowed to use his designation as an auditor of the company. And the last one, if he fails to obtain secret information, he will be guilty of the professional misconduct. Here, it is a duty of auditor that is to keep a secret information of the organization with himself only. But if auditor fails to maintain the secret information, and if directly or indirectly auditor communicate the secret information with the other one, then definitely he will be guilty of professional misconduct. So it is a duty to maintain the secrecy of the organization in which he is working as an auditor. So that's all about our session, and that's all about our unit number 3. In the next session, we'll discuss about our last unit, that is corporate governance. I hope company auditor is clear to you. So that's all for today. Thank you so much.